When people go out to vote, no fear, no more. Vote for Trump. Let's go. Vote for Trump. If you want to keep America great, vote for Trump. I vote for Trump. Oh my God, I will vote. I will vote. Oh yeah, for Donald Trump. Oh my God, I will vote. Oh my God, I will vote for Donald Trump. I don't believe in fake news. All I need is truth. Because we love our country. We love it just like you. Economy. For Trump. Life is good. For Trump. Because we love our country. We love it just like you. Oh my God, I will vote. I will vote for Donald Trump. Everybody, come on. Oh my God, I will vote. I will vote for Donald Trump. I know my daughter. If you feel proud to be American, oh, yeah. Raise your hand, God bless America. If you feel proud to be American, raise your hand, God bless America. One more time. Oh my God, I will vote. I will vote for Donald Trump.
And here we are live. Bill Cochran, the only In America show, the Latino song, I Will Vote for Donald Trump. I will vote for Donald Trump. Puerto Ricans are going to vote for Donald Trump as well. In fact, the island does have a lot of garbage on it, and everybody knows it. It's from the infrastructure. It's from the fact that it's an island with no money. The people down in Puerto Rico are broke right now. And everybody in Puerto Rico knows it. The comedian didn't have to say what he said in Madison Square Garden, but it didn't take away from the fact that Donald Trump went into Madison Square Garden like Muhammad Ali and Joe Frazier did 50 years ago almost. Donald Trump, his sons, his family came down into Manhattan with the entourage, past tens of thousands of Democrats. Well, Democrats in New York is what they used to be. And now many of them, at least all the ones that were standing in the streets, will be voting for Donald Trump. Just like the ones that sang that song, I will vote for Donald Trump. What about you? Are you an independent? Are you on the fence? Do you want to see this country fall apart because of an open border? Do you want to see 20, 30, 40 million more illegal immigrants come across the border and be flown all over this great country? And are you going to be able to afford Kamala Harris and all of her policies? Well, she can't tell us what they are, but we know from the 4 years of experience under Joe Biden and Harris exactly what's going to happen if she is able to somehow win the election on Tuesday. It's coming quick. 1 week from today. 1 week from today. Election Day in America, 2024. November 5th, got to get out and vote. Got to get out and vote for Trump, Donald Trump. RFK Jr., a lifelong Democrat, he said, I didn't leave the party left me. And he became a Republican. He's going to endorse, well, he did endorse Donald Trump, and he's going to be part of that Making America Healthy Again platform. Elon Musk stood up there on stage and talked to, actually energized the thousands and thousands of people that were in Madison Square Garden. The smartest man on the planet, at least when it comes to spaceships, Teslas, billionaire, richest man on the planet, Jeff Bezos, Amazon, not going to endorse anybody this year. Well, that's saying he's not going to endorse Kamala Harris. He blames it on, we're not going to do it now. But it's because he doesn't believe in the Kamala Harris policies, which will be the same as Joe Biden's policies. It was a mega at the Mecca. 20,000 fans crowded Trump's garden rally. Donald Trump said, I'm thrilled to be back in the city I love with thousands of proud, hardworking American patriots. You're with me and we're together and we've always been together, he said. He also announced a new policy, a tax cut for caregivers who look after family members and loved ones. No tax on tips, no tax on overtime, no tax on Social Security benefits, and maybe eventually no tax at all for the American people. Can you imagine tariffs taking care of all the taxes that the Americans have been spending over their lifetime of this waste that goes on in Washington, D.C., Donald Trump is trying to make it better for Americans. And that's all he has to say when he speaks at these rallies is how much better he wants to make your life in America. And that's the way it should be. Hope, he says. How you doing, Ed?
Doing all right.
Ed's doing good. Ed's ready for Election Day. I guess you'll be glad when it's over, right?
Absolutely. I'm tired of the phone text.
Yeah. How are you holding up? Okay with the election coming up? You think?
Yeah, as it gets closer, you can see people getting more desperate.
Yeah, the Democrats especially. I don't think Donald Trump doesn't look desperate, but he's going all over the country. He's doing what he says. Can you play a clip? Maybe if we got some pretty good clips tonight. And
with your support on November 5th, we will achieve success that no one can imagine. We will have the strongest economy, the most secure borders, the safest cities, the most powerful military, the best trade deals. We will dominate the frontiers of science, medicine, business, technology, and space.
Trump's rally in the heart of the Big Apple was a homecoming to a city that has come to reject. And those clips that Ed plays are Donald Trump at his rallies. That was a rally, I believe. That might have been the one in Madison Square Garden, where he speaks to you. He speaks to you as a person, not just a voter, but as a person. He speaks to you. He doesn't talk down to you like Kamala Harris does. Kamala Harris is out of control totally. She's out of control. And yet she's the one that's running for the president of the United States on the Democratic ticket. She didn't earn that. Nobody voted for her. Nobody voted for Kamala Harris to be the nominee for the Democratic ticket. Nobody. Joe Biden had 14 million votes, and they cooed him. They did a coup. Nancy Pelosi, Dick Durbin, Chuck Schumer, Barack Obama, George Clooney. On a weekend, they did a coup. And they told Joe, you got to go. And we're going to put Kamala Harris in your place. This has never happened in American history. Politics never, ever happened. Where a woman like Kamala Harris, who's a radical woman, she's a liberal senator, she's a prosecutor from San Francisco. She's a district attorney from California. Wants to get rid of cops. Wants to get rid of the police. Tim Walz, governor from Minnesota, one of the hardest guys on lockdowns during COVID. Chinese connections, been to China many, many times. Nobody knows quite much about him, but we watched the city of Minneapolis burn during the Black Lives Matter riots, and he just let it happen. Didn't say a thing about it. Didn't say a thing. Let it happen. Wants to be the vice president. A lot of things, a lot of scarecrows in his closet, at least that's what we're reading about. They want to sneak them in. They want to stick them in the White House so that they can control them. Who's going to control them? The elitists, the big power brokers, the big war machines, the people that want to continue to see America have wars. Donald Trump will not have a war, I don't believe. He never had one during his first term, and I don't believe Donald Trump will have another war. In fact, he will end the war in Ukraine, he says. He will open up the oil. Drill, baby, drill. The polls are starting to show pretty good for Trump in the battleground states as he works tirelessly, probably only sleeps a few hours a night, and then he's out in his jet. Trump Force One, flying all across the nation. Trump's rally in Madison Square Garden, the heart of the Big Apple, was a homecoming to a city that has come to reject him and everything he stands for, tearing his name off buildings, putting him on trial, and even barring him from doing business in the state. Polls say the election is neck and neck, but in recent days, Trump has pulled off a number of successful campaign incursions, including a stint at a Pennsylvania McDonald's cooking French fries and an appearance on the Joe Rogan Experience podcast that has been viewed by more than 30 million times in less than 24 hours. They believe that podcast may be viewed by over 100 million views. Joe Rogan, 3 hours. It was a 3-hour sit down with Joe Rogan. And the McDonald's was the Sunday before when he went into McDonald's in Pennsylvania and cooked French fries just to show the American people that he could and show the American people that Kamala couldn't because she never did. She said she worked at McDonald's. And Donald Trump, there were thousands of supporters. They were stuffed in pens in Midtown ahead of the rally, despite heavy security and a complete lack of toilet facilities that the city did not give out to the people. The Democratic stronghold, Mayor Adams, the Democrats, Chuck Schumer. They don't want Donald Trump in New York City, but he came back. By 10 a.m., there were more than 10,000 stretched blocks around the Midtown venue. By 3 p.m., the Garden was at 85% capacity with only nosebleed seats still available. The crescendo of energy to Madison Square Garden was heavier and bigger than ever before, including several former bitter Trump rivals took the stage one by one. Donald Trump observed, a reporter said, Billy Joel never got this kind of love. This is in the New York Post. The New York Post that had on the headlines, MAGA Square Garden, MSG. Donald Trump has gotten back the city of New York, the Big Apple, the city that tried to put him in prison for the rest of his life. Alvin Bragg, Letitia James went after Trump with a vengeance. And anybody here today, Steve Bannon got out of jail today. Steve Bannon, you got a week left, but he's been in Danbury prison for 120 days. They locked him up. You know, Kamala Harris talks about Trump's going to lock people up. And they're doing all the locking up. Peter Navarro, all the people from January 6th with those long sentences, years. Some of those people are in prison for years. Hopefully Trump gets elected. He will pardon many of them. He will pardon many of those January 6th bystanders, especially the ones that were there innocently, that just got pulled into that mess that Nancy Pelosi kind of orchestrated by not calling in the Guard, the National Guard, that day. And let's play another clip, man, if we could, and we'll keep it going.
I'd like to begin by asking a question. Are you better off now than you were 4 years ago? I don't think so. I don't think so. So I'm here today with a message of hope for all Americans. With your vote this election, I will end inflation. I will stop the invasion of criminals into our country. And I will bring back, as your president, the American dream. We're going to bring it back. Our country is being crippled and destroyed by Kamala Harris. But it does not have to be this way. It won't be this way for long, hopefully, what we've put up with the two of them. What we put up with the two of them, with your support on November 5th, America will be bigger, better, bolder, richer, safer, and stronger than ever before. This election is a choice between whether we will have 4 more years of incompetence, failure, and disaster, or whether we'll begin the 4 greatest years in the history of our country. We'll do something that nobody will even believe. After all of the catastrophes that she has caused, Kamala, she can't say one thing. Not one thing that she'd do differently. They said, would you do anything differently? Well, I can't really think of anything, right? No, she's terrible. We need smart people now. It's time for smart people, not time for these people. So I'm asking you to be excited about the future of our country again, and this will be America's new golden age. We're going to turn it around so fast your head will spin. We're going to stop all of this craziness. Every problem facing us can be solved, but now the fate of our nation is in your hands. In North Carolina, you have to stand up and you have to tell Kamala Harris that you've had enough. You can't take it anymore. We're not going to take it anymore. You're the worst vice president in the history of our country. And you're aligned with the worst president in the history of our country, who, by the way, likes me more than he likes her, but I won't say that. Kamala, you're fired. Get out, Kamala. Get out. Get out.
Get out. You're fired, Kamala. You're fired. Speaker Mike Johnson, Vivek, Tulsi Gabbard, Tucker Carlson, Elon Musk, RFK Jr., and even Hulk Hogan went to the Madison Square Garden. Hulk Hogan made an entrance. He came in, and he said, it doesn't look like there's any Nazis here, he said. He mocked what Kamala is saying, trying to get the president hurt again. This is what it seems like, this rhetoric, because they can't win fair and square. This is why nobody thinks elections are safe anymore and secure, because they don't think that the swamp or the whatever they're called, the glob or the blob they call it, these world elitists, these college-educated people that don't look down at the people like they should. They don't talk to the people like they should, like they could. They don't treat you and me and African Americans and Puerto Ricans and Latinos. And this is why Donald Trump is going to get the vote, the bigger vote than he's ever gotten, that any Republicans ever gotten, will go to him. The minority people, the people that are forgotten. African Americans have been forgotten by the Democratic Party, and they know it. And they look at a guy like Donald Trump and they watched the machine go after him and try to lock him up, even to a point where they took the mugshot of the ex-president of the United States. It used to be off limits. But these people are out of control. They're power hungry. General Kelly saying the things about Trump that I believe are not true. They got some generals, just like they got 51 people in the big shots years ago. They got 51 of them speaking against Trump over other things. Hunter Biden, the laptop. Does anybody remember that? When Twitter wouldn't let it be put on. Twitter kicked Donald Trump off of Twitter, but Elon Musk went out and spent $42 billion of his own money, and he is got free speech back on a social network. The biggest platform in the social network is Twitter, and as X now. It's the biggest one. And who owns it? A man that supports Donald J. Trump and was at his rally in a black Make America Great hat, come on. We got a guest coming in tonight to help me with the polls of political science, Anders Edwardson. Sit over on this side tonight, Anders. And he's going to help with the polling. We got some great polling, I believe, this week. And Anders, put your headset on, and we're just going to set up this live radio. We're set up, and we are on Facebook Live, and I believe maybe YouTube Live. Not sure. Oh, I've been kicked off of YouTube a few times, and I don't say that much bad. I'm not that bad, but they kick you off if you speak the truth to power. That's what it amounts to, and like they're doing in Sweden, I guess. Okay, we got a man that was from Sweden, but he's an American now, became a citizen, and go ahead. How you doing?
Oh, just fine. I can report about 2 red waves.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
The first one was the red lights on the way over here.
The red lights, okay. Yeah, that's a good one.
The other one is a red wave coming in the polls. It's looking better and better for Trump for every day that we are. Since I was here last week, Trump has solidified his lead in more or less all the swing states, and now today he actually hit the 50% mark in one of the most reliable poll nationally also. So it looks like he may just win the popular vote also.
What poll was that, Anders?
Atlas Intel.
Okay, and that's a popular, that's one of the big ones. Now, why do you think it's turning around right now and he's closing in? It's the last week of the voting, election day. It's
the few in the middle, so to speak, that hasn't thought about it enough or just couldn't make up their minds. But with less than a week to go now, or a week exactly today, actually, it looks like, if I have to guess today, I would say that Trump will probably get maybe 51% nationally, and Harris will maybe 47, 48.
That would mean so much if he wins the popular vote, right? Because they want to get rid of the electoral vote, right? And they won't be able to say as much against it if he wins the popular vote.
No, it takes the edge off that argument. I mean, it has only happened 3 times in American history. And it was a safety valve put there by the founding fathers, just so people living in the big cities and most populated areas wouldn't have all the power.
It was similar to the Senate. Every state gets 2 senators. No matter how many people you have in your state, Congress is based off population. But the Senate was based up in that, and I believe the founding fathers, the framers, were so far ahead of anything. But what you say it was only happened in 2 times? When did that happen? Last time with that popular vote? And
well, to my knowledge, this has happened 3 times. Once in I think it was the 1870s. Exactly what year I don't remember. It was one of the Harrison presidents, and then it was George W. Bush in 2000. You remember the Florida recount,
right?
And then it was Trump in 2016.
And the Florida Trump was. What about with Reagan? Reagan won the states. He won in the electoral college, right? Didn't he win 49 states?
In 1984,
in
yes.
84,
but he got 51% in 80, and I think he was just short of 60% in his re-election in 84. So.
And you being a political science, what do you think Trump's secret is? What do you think makes people really love him the way they do?
There is only one non-secret with Donald J. Trump, and that is he is himself. Hate him or love him, but you know what you get.
Yeah. I think when he speaks to people, he speaks to them like they're, he like at his rallies, he normally will talk to the people and he will introduce the people and he will, mingle with the people. He's a guy like a communicator like Reagan was, I believe. Yeah. And Reagan was probably one of your favorite presidents. He was one of my favorites, him and Trump. But this Trump is a good one. He's a real good leader that we're going to be fortunate enough to get if he wins.
Absolutely. And if you want to add one thing to what makes Trump so relatively successful, he's not he's more a traditional classic politician even than a modern one, because modern politicians, they more or less go to school, I think, to try to learn to talk so they don't offend or put anyone off. It doesn't matter how immoral or bad or something, he just says if he thinks something is freaking bad, he says so. And he just doesn't, and that was turned some people off also. They have been used now since the 60s, at least, to these politicians who try not to really offend anyone. But Trump is just, he almost has a kind of, in the positive meaning of it, the Tourette's syndrome. He just says what he thinks, and if that offends a few people here and there, he doesn't care.
And the fact of the matter is he was president for 4 years and he accomplished so much, like with the energy, the energy, we were energy, we had it made. We were selling energy, we were independent of Iran and Venezuela and all the other. That's why the jobs, he had the jobs, he had the inflation under control. And the man was promises made. He made a lot of them, and he kept a lot of them with the border. And he says he's going to close the border up. And I believe people believe him. I believe this time people really aren't fighting him on it, but they really are behind him on it. When he wanted to build the border in 16 when he was running, there was a lot of people saying he was a racist, he was this and that. But now he's running on this message that these immigrants are destroying the sanctity of our life. Many of these criminals, I'm talking about the ones they're bringing in out of the prisons,
Yeah, and I mean, it's the physical wall, so to speak, towards Mexico, but it's almost as important is also to have we can call it a mental wall, a leader who says, sorry, we understand if you want to come, the good people, but we can't take you all. You must fall in line and wait for your turn. You can't just come and walk in over the borders and get free schools and free health care. Again, that offends a lot of people on the left and in the media and academia and stuff like that. But it's just a matter of fact. We have seen the last 4 years, the chaos and the carnage that comes out of this.
Yeah, and you're right, and it's a great thing. And now with the polls, you say he's ahead in a lot of these battleground states now, or he's even, or where's that? Whereas, you look at, like, you watch Fox News or something, they're talking about Harris is ahead now, they're saying.
I mean, there are still a few polls that shows Harris up 1 or 2% nationally. And I think it was 1 or 2 battlegrounds today also. She led with 1%. But it's in the margin of error. And I mean, if you want to see where the winds are blowing now, during the day today, the Harris campaign actually took what I think is their first really good strategic decision. They backed out of North Carolina. They pulled $2 million in bought ad time, and they will put them somewhere. North Carolina is now Trump's. They will not campaign there, to my knowledge, anymore, and they are not running any ads. So now we can add. Arizona and Georgia is already in Trump's column. He's up to 3-4%. That's at least just beyond the margin of error. And now you can add North Carolina to that. And I think Nevada is moving in that direction also. So we are more or less of the 6-7 original swing states. We are now down to the blue wall again, up in Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania. And Trump is up 1 to 2% in all of those also. And I actually think we can, if this momentum continues for another 7 days, I think we should keep a very close eye on a number of other states also, Minnesota, Virginia, New Hampshire.
You said that before. Now today I heard he's up in New Hampshire. I think he's even in New Hampshire now, or he's ahead of where he was with Joe Biden when he was running against Joe Biden, because Joe Biden had New Hampshire pretty much in a lock. But Donald Trump is going all over the. I think a lot of it's the fact that he never stops. He's never tires. He just keeps going to
man never sleeps.
to other places, and he gets all the attention of the that Kamala can't even start. She can't get traction.
Yep.
She can bring Michelle Obama. She can bring out Sleepy Joe, but he don't want to go anymore. She brings Barack out. She's got the Beyonce at a concert, and she walks away when the singing's supposed to come. Leaves. Beyonce doesn't, and so everybody starts leaving. She can't get traction, Kamala Harris, because she's not a very likable person. It seems like I don't think that many people, even her staffers, they say don't like her.
No, what was it? 97% of her vice presidential staff from 2021, January 2021, has 3%
liked her.
So
that's from the liberal media. That's coming from CNN and
yeah. So you can't. You don't need to be a political scientist to read the tea leaves here. When you can't even please and keep your own staff, close personal staff, how the heck are you supposed to lead a country that's as big and diverse of 350 million people when you can't even keep 100 people happy? It's absolutely impossible.
The Democrats, when they picked her, when they anointed her, it wasn't the Democratic Party. It was a few elitists in the party, or a few power hungry, but who knows who it was. I think Nancy Pelosi and maybe Obama and a few others, Schumer, got together and said, let's get Joe and send him home. But I don't think that was a good move on their part. I think they would have been better off if they just kept Sleepy Joe and right to the end. I mean,
he would probably not have done much worse than she.
No,
as it looks now, at least.
I don't think you could do much worse than her. The only thing she's got going, she's a woman. She says she's black, but she's not. She's really not. She's India, right? India
and Jamaica.
And Jamaica. Now she's not African American. In other words, she doesn't have that blood in her, and that's what she's trying to make it like. She identifies with the struggle, like Oprah. And she has her going out after, and they're all coming around this woman, and I think it's starting to fall apart on them. And the last week, like you say, these polls are going to start to show it. And she's going to run out of billions of dollars they've spent, $2.5 billion they've collected. These two. Between the Democrats, $2 billions.
I think Harris alone raised over $1 billion.
$1 billion
since early July or something like that.
If that's not buying a politician, I mean, $2 billion, because that goes into her fund, right?
I see it as it's a very, very positive sign, though. It proves that you can't buy an election. If she loses, it's actually, that's probably the biggest takeaway. A lot of people don't have any respect or belief left in the system, but this will, if you can't buy the White House for more than $1 billion, it's not for sale, so to speak. Because I think you could almost have run Jimmy Carter again for $1 billion, and he would probably have done better.
Now, what do you think will happen with the Senate and the Congress? Are you following those polls, any of those races?
It's interesting. There are a couple of Republicans that is a little bit of a concern. Cruz in Texas, he's leading, but not as much as he should, being a, third-time incumbent. And then for some reason, I think it's because of an independent candidate in Nebraska, I think it is, that Republican is also only up 1 or 2 or 3%. But on the other hand, the Republicans for sure will pick up West Virginia and Montana. So that there you have those 2 for 2 is a wash at worst. But then there is also 2, 3, 4 other Republicans in Ohio, in Pennsylvania, in Wisconsin and Michigan who runs really, really strong. And all it takes is for one of those also to win. If against all odds, Cruz and this guy in Nevada, Nebraska, I forgot his name now, Fisher maybe it was. Even if both those two loses, it's enough to win one more than the Republicans will have 51.
They'll have 51, and then the Congress, hopefully they'll pick up seats, not lose the Congress, because if Trump wants to, is going to get these things done, he needs at least he needs the support of the Congress. I think he can do a lot of it with executive orders to get going. But and he's talking Matt Gaetz, I guess, at the rally at Madison Square Garden. They're thinking that maybe. He says he's got a secret surprise, and Matt Gaetz knows about it. And now the talk is that maybe some of these Democrats that are running that might win Congress may become Republicans after they get elected, which who knows? I mean, that would be a stretch.
It has happened. It has happened a few times in the past that people has been elected for one party and then immediately switched afterwards to belong to the winning side. I don't really see that happen in our hyper partisan era, though. But what it looks like, especially if Trump managed to push beyond 50% in the popular vote, I think his so-called coattail will be so long, because a lot of people go, okay, I will just, they are only interested in the presidential election, but while they are there, they are voting Democrat or Republican down the ballot. And if Trump gets a real boost the last week now, he will carry a lot of House members. I mean, as I said, maybe even 1 or 2 senators on his coattail over the finishing line.
If he does win the popular vote, maybe some of these Democratic Congress that are kind of moderates will come over, like Newt Gingrich brought the parties together, got a lot of things done during his term as a Speaker of the House. And if Mike Johnson and maybe Rick Scott of Florida, the senator, may become the Speaker of the Senate, on the Republicans. I think Mitch McConnell is retiring.
He's retiring.
I think he's because of health.
I haven't been able to figure out if he's just said I will not run for Senate leader or if he's actually leaving his seat. I don't know which one.
I think he's retiring the seat. I mean the
okay.
Speaker of the House. I don't think he's going to be the Speaker of the House. That's what I think. I heard that the other day. Now maybe it's
you mean Senate majority leader?
I'm sorry. Majority leader, and which he's been for many years. He's been in charge of the Senate. So if he retires and moves aside and maybe lets somebody like Rick Scott or even Ted Cruz, somebody like that, whoever, that would be a good thing, I believe, because they're going to be appointing more judges, I believe, in that next 4 years. There's going to be more, but the judges, the conservative judges, 6-3, they've had some decisions, but that's a lot of this women voting against Trump because of the abortion issues. That stirred them up back in 2020, I believe, or 2022. So it's
you have 2 or 3 members of the Supreme Court that starts to get a little old. So, and a couple of them are Republicans, so it's extremely important to get new Republicans in if one of those should retire or something like that.
And Kamala wants to stack the court. She wants to make it bigger, where there's more justices, right? That's what she says.
Yeah, I'm a great admirer of the founding fathers. They made one small clerical mistake, though. They didn't fix the number of judges in the Constitution. So technically, a president and Congress can just add more judges if they want to. It shouldn't be that way. I think we need an amendment that set that number in stone, so you can, because I mean, packing the Supreme Court that killed even FDR's political momentum in 1937. He tried the same game after his landslide victory in 36, and the whole country, including large parts of its own party, turned against him on that one, and he never became that great leader again until the Second World War made him a war president.
That never came up again. But I think a lot of this, Kamala has nothing to really run on, so all she can do is
her laugh,
condemn.
Her lovely laugh. Don't you like that?
Her what?
Her laugh.
Laugh?
Yeah.
Oh, her laugh, the giggle, or the cackle, or Kamala cackle. Yeah, she does have a good laugh. But she doesn't laugh. She doesn't laugh that much anymore.
No.
I think she's going to start crying there as it gets
she's
closer.
Mostly screaming these days. It looks like.
And you know, Hillary backs her. Hillary keeps knocking Trump, even though Trump was at their wedding. You know, they came to Trump's wedding with Melania and Bill Clinton, and all of a sudden. They're making him into this evil character, but he's got the X team. They're starting to call the X men: Elon Musk, RFK Jr., Tulsi, but she's a woman, Vivek, and JD Vance. I mean, those five are really polarized to help Trump get a lot of things done, I believe. And he's got a lot of people that really have come out of this box that they were into the big tent of Trump and the Republican Party. It's going to be a new Republican Party if he wins. It is already, the movement's already there. If
Trump wins, especially if he wins big, the MAGA revolution will be over, in the meaning that it has taken over the Republican Party and redone it top to bottom. You can compare that to the Tea Party movement 15 years ago. That was also a great popular movement, but the party was back then still so strong that it managed to swallow the Tea Party movement, and they didn't change their policies after that. Now it's the other way around. Now it's the popular movement, the MAGA movement, has swallowed the Republican Party and redone it. Both policy-wise and how they work, what groups they are trying to win over, blacks, Latinos, Puerto Ricans must be mentioned these days also, I think.
Yeah, they were at the back. I bet you Trump probably wishes he never got that clown that did the,
It was a Trump rally on Puerto Rico today.
It was a comedian, but still, he was making a point that if Trump had said, "I'm gonna clean up that garbage," because there is a lot of problems in Puerto Rico right now, and all these cities, they're all garbage. There's garbage everywhere in the cities now, and he could have. Maybe he will, but said he wants to clean up Washington. He wants to clean. I'm going to clean up the swamp. That's going to be a real. Can we play another clip there, Ed? Maybe let's listen to a clip. Ed's got some clips there. Great to hear that.
Well, guess what, guys? The Harris Walz campaign is actually going on the record supporting illegal immigrant gangs that they let into our country. Think about that. Don't believe me? Just listen to Tim Walz in his own words. This is not edited. It's not a deep fake. Make sure you're sharing it. Walz says that my father's vow to deport these criminal illegals is putting the ruthless gangs at risk. These people are freaking insane. They're nuts. Watch this.
I would ask them honest questions, and they asked him, why are you and JD Vance making up stories about people who are in this country legally, putting them at risk, spreading disgusting, untrue stories about folks in Springfield, Ohio, Aurora, Colorado? That's what he's been doing. It tells you just about everything you need to know about this. These lies that they're saying, Republican officials are telling them to stop it. And then they tell lies about the Republican officials who tell them to quit telling lies, because that's who they are. But look, let's be honest. There are outsiders coming into communities, stealing and moving jobs away and making life harder for people living there. And they have names: Donald Trump and JD Vance. That's who they are. That is who's going there.
Remember when Nancy
Stealing the cats, the Haitians.
Yeah, I mean, the cat story.
Thank you, Red.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
The cat story is, I did some serious deep diving in this, and there are actually a small minority of Haitians who believe in voodoo. They have a tradition to eat cats on Christmas Eve for some reason. If that some of those are in Springfield, Ohio, who knows? But
what the point of it all was, the point of Donald Trump's message. He didn't realize when he said that, because he'll say anything. He'll say, like the garbage with this comedian, the garbage in Puerto Rico. Well, there is garbage in Puerto Rico. There's garbage in all the cities. And maybe the man shouldn't have said that, because maybe it took away from a little bit of the MAGA gigantic rally. But it's true. And if they're eating the cats and they're taking the jobs, the people that live there, they can't afford to buy a cat to buy pet food, because they don't have any jobs because of the Haitians, the ones that are being flown in from Haiti and landing in this town of Springfield, a town of about 60,000, and bringing 30,000 immigrants. Now, I know you're an immigrant, but you came in legally. You did it. And look at how much you've accomplished legally. And these people will never be able to accomplish the things that somebody like you did it legally, because they'll always be the slave to the Democratic Party. If the Democratic Party stays in power. Under Donald Trump, he'll deport maybe the criminals. He'll try. He won't be able to, deport, but he'll try to lift them up, I believe, as Americans. If they're going to be, they're going to live here. They're going to become. So I have nothing against immigrants myself personally, but I just don't like the way they come in.
And there is only one way to long-term help large number of people, immigrants or native-born Americans, the same. It's a growing economy. The federal government don't own a cent.
Right.
That is only our money, the taxpayers' money. And if the economy doesn't grow and the population continue to grow, the slice of the pie will continue to become smaller and smaller for all of us. So the best thing for Haitian immigrants in Ohio and Swedes in Florida like me, or whatever it is, and native-born Americans in Kansas and Nebraska, the economy must grow.
But
then we can discuss how should it be a little bit divided through taxes and entitlements and stuff. But that's a secondary question.
When you hear that Donald Trump's, one of his messages is that they're emptying out the prisons in these countries. And I would say it must be true, because you don't hear anybody fact checking him on that and saying it's not true. So if this is true, the money that the country makes, the people thrive, they don't have safety. They can't sleep at night. They're afraid they're going to get their cars stolen, or they're going to get knocked over the head and get robbed. And this is what Trump is trying to say to the American people. Enough is enough is enough. Voting to get votes because the Democrats want to be in power for the rest, the country will fall apart as this continues to happen. Yeah. So Donald Trump needs to win. We got 1 week left. What kind of a message would you give a man that's on the fence right now, that's an independent or that hasn't voted, or a woman, 18-year-old listening maybe? What would you say?
Let me just say one thing about the emptying the prisoners and stuff. This is nothing new. Fidel Castro did that when Jimmy Carter said in the late 70s, every Cuban who comes to U.S. will have the right to stay. perfect, said the communist dictator, and emptied his.
And it ruined Miami. It ruined the city.
They dumped them in Miami, and there you got the large.
They ruined it.
Yeah.
You ever see Serpico, the movie?
Yeah.
Well, that was Miami under, and that's why Trump says this can't happen. They can do it if we're stupid enough to let them come in, or as naive enough as Americans to say, hey, bring them in. We don't. The country's shot. The grandchildren I have, the children I have, the kids, it's shot. It's nothing against immigrants legally. Go ahead. But what would you say to an independent, or say someone that's going to be the first time they ever voted?
I would say this is not the time to listen to rock stars and movie stars and cackling politicians about this. Is the most serious moment, the most serious decision you make, political decision you will probably take in your whole life, because if this goes south a week from now, I don't think every country has its breaking point, and I think 4 or 8 years with Harris and Walz will push America to become something like a giant France or something, but without the cheese and the fancy wines and castles. It will not be a very funny place to live. So think and don't. If you don't like Trump as a person, try to look beyond that and look on the policies. He was president for 4 years. He got the economy going. He got homelessness under control and starting to sink, and more or less everything started to move in the right direction. And he can do it again. But he must have a resounding victory, preferably in both the Electoral College and the popular vote, so he can just step back into the Oval Office and go from day one.
And this is exactly right. And thank you for your message. Thank you for your knowledge on politics. And this is the end, coming towards the end of the show. It's going to be putting on that beautiful song, Only in America. And we got nostalgic radio in the cars coming up next. But the thing about it all is America can thrive again, and under Donald Trump, we're not going to get another chance with Donald Trump. This is his last really hurrah. So give him a chance, give him a vote, and give him your vote, and let him win this country back and bring it back, and let the Congress and the Senate and all the nonsense that we've been hearing from Kamala Harris about, lies. She's bringing out lies, and she's saying that any MAGA person will be, well, whatever, we're no good, But she's the one that is got the the attention of the Only in America. We're going to end this show, but this is the song. And it's it's live radio, but I thank you, Anders, and I thank you, and God bless America, and get out and vote. Thank you, Ed.
WTAN, Clearwater.
FM 106.1.
WDCF, Dade City.
FM 102.3.
Listen.
Vice President Harris' closing argument speech.
This is historical. I'm just so excited.
Mail-in ballots request.
We really encourage voters to vote early.
U.S. to Israel.
Israel must address the catastrophic humanitarian crisis.
This is the CBS World News Roundup Late Edition. I'm Jennifer